All right. Welcome everybody to another BD Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. The host, good friends to BDA, and I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we've got a special one for you, an afternoon BDA Boxing Sunday call-in show. We're gonna take your calls, and you get to tell us your opinion on what occurred last night. A lot of surprises. Enough fuel to last us for days, let me tell you. But shout out to all of you fellas for joining us. Really appreciate it. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business side of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to continue this gravy train rolling, you're certainly welcome to send a couple of shekels our way with the super chat feature. Although it's better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. The most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, all right? Don't forget that you can check us out on Spotify, Spreakers, iTunes, at your leisure. The most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, and spread that BDA gospel. All right, fellas? Let's give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Quentin Lassiter, James Thornton, Jay Perez, A Valiant Thor, Never Sobers in the house. Shout out to Never Sobers. Shout out to the Quags, Lucky Zim, Consolidated Planning, Real Talk Boxing, Earl Stevens in the house as well. Shout out to Team Batman Boxing, Real Talk Boxing in there as well. Abner Ortega, Bacon and Eggs, iRugs. What these fucking names? Who else? We got Devon Williams. We got Skull Kid 25. We've got Uriah Smith. And many more people to come, I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We got Gonzalo in there as well. Shout out to the Quags for reestablishing his membership program. He says, I gave Fury every round. All right. Well, there you go. Shout out to you fellas. So what I'm going to be doing is, look, I'm going to be taking calls, but I'm also going to invite people, depending on how that goes. So if any of you regular panelists, you want to jump in later on, stay tuned for that. But I just want to get a couple of things across here about what occurred last night. Some of the double standards, too, that are going around from the usual suspects. Those that cannot be trusted because they're just pushing racial narratives. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Like I said, we're going to be taking the phone calls. The phone lines are open already, by the way, fellas. So if you want to call in, you get to do so. The phone number is right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. I'm also going to be putting the number up periodically here on the big screen. There you go. So make sure to call in, give us your thoughts on Fury and Ngannou. I mean, tell us, do you think Fury was overrated? That's the main one of the main topics that I want to touch on here. First of all, also, do you think he even won the fight? How do you see Usyk Fury going? I mean, just those are some of the main 3 points that you can call in and talk about. All right. I see we already got a phone call, like I said. So let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 945. 945. You're on the air. 945. What's on your mind?
Hey, yo, what's going on, BDA? Real Talk Boxing.
Oh, what's up, Real Talk?
Hey, what's going on, man? Good to be back on the show. I appreciate it. Honestly, I watched that fight live. I honestly didn't even plan watching the fight. I saw it at the circus event, but I figured, what the hell, it's the only thing that's on. And me and my friend watched it together live, and we were watching it round for round, and we both, he's an MMA guy, I'm a boxing guy, and we both kind of, we agreed, and Ngannou won that, I gave him 6 rounds. I kind of threw my line in there yesterday. I gave him 6 rounds, and then he got a knockdown as well, so that would put him up around 7, but I don't really know how Fury won that fight. He had a pretty accurate jab. I never saw him hurt Ngannou. I never saw him get him shaky on wobbly legs or anything, and I'll be the first to admit, I told my friend straight up, I was like, man, I don't give Ngannou 4 rounds, bro. He's going to be gassed by like the 4th. So, when I saw it was 10 rounds, I was like, man, I don't think he's going to make it 10 rounds. And the fact that it went the distance, that's an indictment on Fury, man. You're the heavyweight champion of the world. You know, you're the WBC heavyweight champion, and you're going 10 rounds with an MMA guy who hasn't fought in 2 years. That's an indictment on you.
So where does Fury go from here, do you think?
Man, honestly, Fury needs to have that Usyk fight because, for two things. Your legacy is now, it's being called to question. The fact that you even have to ask, was Fury a hype job, or, was he overrated? The fact that you even need to ask that question, it just goes to show that Fury's being called into question. His entire legacy is now on the line. If you don't have that Usyk fight, it's gonna follow you for the rest of your life. You're never gonna live that down. You're never gonna be able to call yourself undefeated. You're not gonna be able to call yourself lineal anymore. You'll be nothing, essentially. And then on top of that, you're missing out on another huge payday as well. So, you need to have that Usyk fight because there's a lot on the line. There's a lot being called to question, and you're risking a lot more than just an undefeated record here. And honestly, I've always had Usyk beating Fury. Yesterday, it just completely reaffirmed everything. Usyk's gonna box Fury's head off, bro. It's probably not even gonna look competitive, to be honest. Fury throwing a blatant elbow in the middle of the fight was. I couldn't stop laughing, to be honest with you. Ngannou, and the fact that Ngannou just walked through it too, he didn't even look fazed by it. He really looked more so like what the fuck. Honestly, we got some guys in the chat still pretending that was a good that was a good performance. This guy Bacon and Eggs thinks it was a great performance. That was an embarrassment to boxing yesterday, bro. Before yesterday, we were all under the consensus that MMA guys just can't compete with boxing when they're in boxing ring, and Fury shat all over that theory because he just shown that, bro, a dude coming off the couch for 2 years, and he trains with Mike Tyson for maybe 6 months tops, if that, and he goes 10 rounds with the heavyweight champion. That's embarrassing, dude.
I mean, I gotta tell you, it's
not a good result.
I still think some MMA fans are overrating a little bit, but man, Tyson Fury deserves every bit of the flack he's getting, and I'm gonna get into that later. But listen, real talk, we gotta move on here. But great points, and call back next time, right, man?
Thank you, brother. Salud, man. God bless.
Thank you. Salud. Right back at you, man. Take it easy out there. Listen, before we continue, I jumped right into the phone call. So Tyson Fury took on a novice in Francis Ngannou. Tyson Fury, one of the main titleists in the heavyweight division. Of course, most people have Usyk as the number one guy. I think Ring Magazine has him as the Ring Magazine champion, the lineal one. But Tyson Fury fought a novice and struggled mightily against a novice in Francis Ngannou. Yes, Ngannou's a strong guy, but I mean, come on. There's no way that one of the top 3 heavyweights in the world in boxing should be struggling like this and getting dropped on top of that. That's the thing. He got dropped in the, third round? Let me check here. Because he won, blah, 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 the 37-year-old. And by the way, Ngannou's 37. It's not he's like a 23-year-old novice or anything. The guy's 37. He's old too. He's older than Fury, I think. I mean, this was just a bad look all around. And I want to give you my thoughts later on. But yeah, man, that's essentially what occurred right there. And we're going to get into that. Before we go back to the phone lines, shout out to who just donated here. Well, shout out to the Quacks. Like I said, he reestablished his membership program. And shout out to Fight or Flight Boxing, who says Fury is a fraud. I mean, I wasn't going that far before, but now the way things are coalescing, anybody that doesn't want to call this guy a fraud, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm going to get into that later too as well, by the way. But let's go back to the phone lines here real quick. Let's go to 470. 470, you're in the air. 470, what's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, man. What's up?
So I watched the fight last night. Couple things I wanted to say. So I never really viewed Francis Ngannou as a novice. If you follow his background, you look at his background, he actually started boxing. He did kickboxing. And even in his MMA training, he sparred with various world-ranked heavyweights. Carlos, I can't think of the guy right now who just lost his gang. Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce has commented on his power, and so I think Fury, and he's a true fighter, 6'5", 272, and I'm somebody I've trained in both boxing and MMA, and I just think that Tyson Fury completely underestimated this guy. I think that the public and ESPN and the Fury, supporters greatly. I mean, they were calling this guy the greatest heavyweight of all time because he beat Deontay Wilder and had to climb off the canvas in two of those fights and nearly lost. And so they were overestimating Fury, and Fury believed he could just show up, be fat, and just get in the ring, I guess, and just have a sparring session with a 6'5" beast that had Mike. I mean, the things I was seeing online. I mean, a lot of the sport of boxing right now. We've got to get our act together here because the standards have been lowered so much. You have a guy in Tyson Fury who refuses to fight top contenders since he beat Wilder. And they're calling this guy the greatest heavyweight of all time. He shows up to the press conference with Ngannou looking, I mean, he's got at least 50 to 60 pounds of excess fat on his hips. And he thinks he can just go in there and everybody's just going along with it. He's just going to easily go in there with a prime, supremely conditioned athlete and just have an easy time. The guy, he's disgraced boxing. He's discredited the sport. And if the guy's not going to seriously fight top contenders and defend his belt like he should, at least once a year, WBC should strip the guy. Because what this guy is doing and what he's been able to get away with is honestly it's a disgrace to the sport. There's guys who go to the gym every day, train, guys who fight, guys who are active, who work their way up the rankings, who deserve a fight. And this guy is just basically taking 2 years off, gets fat, bloated. Everybody's gassing him up, gassing up his head. He's ducking Usyk, calling him the greatest fighter ever in the history of the sport. And we see the results of that last night. So, that's what I wanted to say. I just hope that, Fury makes up his mind what he wants to do so he can move on with the sport. If he wants to retire or if he's going to jump in there and fight Usyk, I hope he doesn't try to delay this Usyk fight for another 3-4 months. But, the sport, we just don't need bullshit like this. I mean, the guy, you got to be a professional. You got to show up. Just because you're the heavyweight champion, that doesn't mean you can just show up in any kind of shape. Don't train, be fat, and just get in there with, supremely conditioned athletes and do what you want.
There you go. That's a good point.
We've seen guys like Canelo, guys like Mayweather. These are guys who show up, train hard, show up to the ring in shape. These are the guys that should be put on, even the smaller weight guys.
That's a good point there, caller. That's a good point. That's a good point, caller. Even if you're the heavyweight champion, even if you're the heavyweight champion of the world, even if you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you don't show up against a 250+ pound guy who can crack in his sport and just think that you're gonna have waltz in there. You're absolutely right with them, and we gotta move on here, man. But good call. Who is this, by the way, so I can remember the next time. Caller.
All right, take care.
All right, well, take it easy, man. I wanted to ask his name, but we're gonna move on here quickly. That's a good point, man. Because let's not call Ngannou a novice then, but he was an amateur, a boxing amateur. That's what he was, and he almost beat the champion, the titleist. Because I don't think he's the champion. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323. What's on your mind?
What's going on, BDA? First of all, I want to say I didn't think there was anything more disgusting than Tyson Fury's dad until the fight happened. So that's one. B, this guy's supposed to represent us. I mean, he's the boxer here. He's supposed to be the elite boxer, the fighter, the one that's supposed to set it straight that you can't just cross over from MMA. But this guy's a fraud, man. First of all, these are my claims for the fraud. Usyk got dropped by a guy I still think it was a low blow, but a young, in his prime, powerful heavyweight, a legit heavyweight, an experienced boxer. This guy goes in there, goes 10 rounds with the guy, and he squeezed out by 1 point. Wasn't it by 1 point, a 1 point decision?
I believe one of those cards
anyway,
was, yeah.
Those cards one of those cards was a joke, but, I could have had it a draw or for Ngannou. I edged it towards Ngannou, at least by a round or two, but I would have been okay with the draw. This was just fucking terrible, man. I mean, I hope that everybody realizes that this guy is a 37-year-old, he's a tank. He's a tank of a man, and I think if you put him up against a really good heavyweight, I don't know, he'd probably lose. But you put him up against this schmo that's been pretending. He's a fucking pretender. And I'm tired of listening to his mouth, and I'm tired of listening to his dad's mouth. Anyway, I'm going to take myself off the air. That guy sucked, man. It was a joke. I went to a party yesterday, and everyone around the party was just like, it was just like disgusted with the dude. I mean, this guy's supposed to represent boxing.
Did he ruin the party?
We were at a party. We were like,
no, did it ruin the party?
Go to what was that?
Did it ruin the party?
Oh, I mean, it was. Everyone started people were booing, and we were all shocked when he got dropped. It was a big disappointment, and I just thought, like, okay, Fury's not the best boxer. I've never considered him a great heavyweight or anything like that, because who did he beat? Like Wilder, and Wilder is nothing special, but this is not supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. He's supposed to have his shit together. He came in. I don't care if he comes in heavy. If he comes in heavy and Sugar Hill's his trainer, and you're supposed to deliver these power shots, that's fine. Andy Ruiz comes in heavy, and he does all right when he's heavy. But there's a difference between taking a guy too lightly or being unmotivated or whatever was going through his head. He's just believing in whatever he's saying. He believes his own hype, and it's just fucking terrible, dude. Like this guy really needed this. And I hope the fight. Now he's backpedaling on the fight. Did you see the post-fight interview about the supposed signed fight with Usyk? Now they're gonna see. Now we're gonna. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's a bad look, man.
This is a joke. Anyway,
he really is getting exposed here.
This is a joke.
He's getting exposed, man.
Totally, the guy's a fraud.
Shout out to you, Dom Margazos.
Anyway, you guys have a good one, man.
You too, man. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday right there. All right, listen, I want to say a couple of things here before we get down to the rest of the phone calls here, because I was actually going to start off with my opening thoughts. We got flooded a little bit here by the phone calls, but shout out to Earl Stevens for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Fury's lower back was merging. Fury's lower back was merging with his upper ass. He was fat and out of shape. And Ngannou looked all right as an in shape. An in-shape Fury would have won last night. I mean, I agree. See, that's the other thing. Bucha, I heard some of the show last night, the open lines show that Bucha did. He hosted. People are saying that Fury said he was in great shape. He showed up at 277 pounds. It's the same weight he showed up in the third Wilder fight, and that's a fight in which he looked awful in and almost got his ass knocked out in the fourth round. So don't give me that shit. Tyson Fury is a congenital liar. He's a congenital, habitual, and pathological liar. You're going to believe what he has to say? I got to tell you. Shout out to Never Sobers for reestablishing his membership program. He says he leaves UFC after beating their heavyweight greatest of all time and then beat the boxing lineal champ. Is Francis the greatest combat sports athlete of all time? I mean, he certainly almost pulled it off. That's for sure. Shout out to Never Sobers for his contribution with Super Chat and Earl Stevens as well. First of all, I want to say something about Tyson Fury. Because Don Madrasos and the previous caller from Atlanta summed up something that I want to say. This is a guy that's, I've said this before. When you talk smack, it's an investment. It's an investment because you got to sell the fight, right? But just like any investment, it can blow up in your face. Because if you don't perform well, or if you underperform, or if you get beat, all that trash talking comes back at you. And that's what he was doing. Tyson Fury was talking a lot of smack about Alexander Usyk, especially after Usyk's fight against Dubois, where some people still claim that it wasn't a low blow and that it was a legitimate body shot. He talked a lot of smack. And then he pulled the shenanigans and the hijinks with the fight. Yes, it's going to happen. Whoops, no, it's not going to happen. He tried to lowball Usyk. Usyk called his bluff, and so on and so forth. And then this guy almost loses. Okay, well, call him a novice, call him an amateur. It's a guy who had 0 professional boxing fights, and he almost beat Tyson Fury. And I want to show you guys this. You guys probably heard about the elbow that Tyson Fury threw. Look at this. Let me slow motion it here a little bit more. See, he's throwing the shot. Then as soon as look at this here, early on, he already starts bending the arm so that he hits him with the elbow. This was no accidental elbow. This isn't a case of where he missed with the punch and then the follow through hit him with Ngannou with the elbow. This was an intentional elbow. That's how desperate this guy was to get out of the fight or to get an advantage. He elbowed him. Look at that. Now, an elbow is quite dangerous because it's not going to knock you out. But as any MMA fan knows, it's going to split open, or it's highly likely that it could split open the face. Now, imagine he opens up a gash on Ngannou's face. That's a scar right there, right off the bat. And that scar tissue could affect him in future fights. It's there forever. As soon as one guy punches him there, it's going to open right up the bat. Not only in boxing, even worse in MMA. One little elbow could open up that gash right away. So this guy almost ruined Ngannou's career, or he was willing to do it because he was so desperate to beat a novice in there. This is the guy that delayed the fight, tells you one thing, his fans believe it, tells you he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. No man, boy, his mother can beat me. And this is what he's resorting to against a novice. This is why, and see, this is how things coalesce, because I don't have any proof of what I'm about to say. I just had intuition. But I said it before. I said, I don't think Tyson Fury really had mental issues during his so-called retirement after the Klitschko fight, where he went on a binge of beer and cocaine. I just think he indulged in whatever he wanted. And yeah, maybe listen, addiction is in part a mental illness. I'll agree. But I don't think it was a question of him getting depressed after winning the title and that's why he went on the bench. I think he just went on the bench because that's what he wanted to do. In other words, what I'm trying to say is when you see a guy who stalled the fight so much, says one thing and then does the other the next, he's elbowing a guy in the ring, a novice, to get out of a fight because he's losing that fight. That's how desperate he is. Are you really going to believe much of what he has to say? Now, the only thing that makes no sense is now the Wilder fans are trying to say that because he was wearing one brand of gloves and not the Everlast gloves that he wore against Wilder, that this proves that Fury had doctored gloves going into the Wilder fights, which makes no sense because Wilder, there was nobody pointed out any hijinks for the third Wilder fight. I mean, some people tried before the fight, but then again, Wilder used the same brand of gloves that Tyson Fury did, and he still couldn't beat Fury. So, I mean, the Wilder fans are really reaching. It's like they say now in the modern parlance, they're coping with the fact that Wilder had 3 shots at Fury. Their king couldn't beat a fat, overrated guy. And that's the other thing about Tyson Fury. Overrated. Is that a fair question to ask? Because let's take a look at who he beat. He beat Klitschko. Oh, I give him credit for that. But it was a feint-off. It was just a feint. And he landed, maybe 10 more punches than Klitschko. It wasn't a dominant performance. Just like the Ngannou fight. It wasn't a dominant performance. He won, but it was closer than it should have been. Then he beats Wilder, who's trash fighter with a big right hand. Dillian Whyte, I gave him credit for the Dillian Whyte fight, but in hindsight, Dillian Whyte had been through the ringer as well. So Fury is overrated. And then he shows up out of shape in this one, and people want to try to make it out to be as if he was actually in shape. I mean, come on. It was just a bad look all around, man, for everybody. And I want to say something else too here, because look, at the end of the day, I thought Tyson Fury won. He looked horrible. There's no excuse for the way he looked. I mean, he says he trained. Obviously, he didn't because he showed up at 277 pounds. But he won. And now I'm thinking, if I really wanted to be an ass, I would keep the same energy that a lot of the Haney fans, which are rooting or were rooting for Ngannou, and we all know why, because, they share the same skin color. They're the same ones that said, Loma fans have to stop crying. Haney got the decision. The judges got it right. The judges are professionals. You can't doubt the professional. One guy even called after the Lomachenko-Haney fight and said, well, if a guy doesn't knock the other guy out, he can't complain, and his fans can't complain because, you're leaving it up to the judges. And there's no such thing as robberies, they told us. The judges got it right on the money. Well, I guess if I really wanted to be an asshole, I could say the judges got it right on the money in this one too. I just went on Twitter for a little bit, and again, this is in a comprehensive list. I'll be getting down to that later on after the show. Check this out. The usual suspect, Artman, says Fury fans mad at Wilder because Fury robbed a UFC fight. So they're calling it a robbery. No, there was no such thing as robberies. I thought that the judges get it right on the money every time. This dude here, Champside, breathing through his mouth here, it seems, in this photo. Robbery. Francis Ngannou drops knives. Cry about it. Cry about it some more. If you look at BoxRec, Fury won. That's what they said about Haney. Look at BoxRec. Haney's still the champ, and still. The voice of the voiceless, another guy that's obsessed with Afro-Anglo culture. They robbed Dubois and Ngannou to have their mediocre undisputed robberies. All of a sudden, robberies exist. I thought you had to knock out the champ. You had to take it from the champ. Ngannou didn't get it from the champ. He dropped him. One knockdown doesn't win you the fight, fellas. So, again, see how these guys don't keep it consistent. Again, I'm not saying that it wasn't a close fight. I'm just saying keep the same logic that these guys bring, or like they're off, and all of a sudden their world falls apart. These guys do not keep it consistent. These guys just change the narrative to suit their world view. So, like I said, cry about it. Fury's still the champ. Cry about it. That's all I'm saying.
Motherfucker, I keep 3, motherfucker, what?
I mean, hey, that's all I'm saying.
Nigga, what?
I just said that the Fury won.
Nigga, what?
That's right.
That's right.
All right, let's go back to the phone. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to the phone call here. Let's go to 818. 818, you're on the air. 818, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? This is the boxing scientist, and I just want to say Tyson Fury is the most overrated heavyweight of all time, man, and he proved me right last night. This was not supposed to go to decision. He was supposed to win by KO, man. This should not have gone more than 6 rounds, man. And when I say overrated, that doesn't mean that he sucks, okay? People don't understand that when you call someone overrated, they can be good. But when you start telling me that he's the greatest of all time, now you're overrating him. So that's what I mean by that, because that's where I draw the line. And you know what? This era of heavyweights is one of the weakest I've ever seen, if not the weakest. So, you know, Fury, you can't even say that Fury is clearly the best heavyweight until he beats Usyk, right? So how are you going to tell me that he's the greatest of all time when he hasn't even fucking unified, man? You know, these people got to get the fuck out of here with that nonsense, man. They worship this guy. He's undisciplined. He's always been undisciplined. You know, they're making excuses like, oh, you know, he just had a bad performance because he probably didn't take this guy seriously. He's never really ever been this super disciplined guy, right? So you can't be the greatest of all time if you're undisciplined. You know, Allen Iverson was a super talented basketball player, but he didn't practice. That's why he's not in talks of, you know, the GOAT. He's not in those talks, right? So we have to use the same measuring stick over here in the sport of boxing, in the sense that if a guy isn't disciplined, there's just no way he can be the greatest of all time, man. And so, you know, he's also very dirty. Like, he uses a lot of dirty tactics. You know, you mentioned the elbow. He likes to clinch a lot, you know, put his weight on guys, and that's another thing I don't like. But all these people crying robbery are also fucking out of their minds, bro. That was not a robbery. He clearly won, and I don't like the guy, but he clearly won. You know, and it's funny because these same motherfuckers that are crying robbery, they're these black supremacists who always change the way that they fucking judge a fight, right? Like when one of their boxers, when an African American boxer gets dropped, like Andre Ward when he got dropped by Kovalev, right? They said, oh, well, yeah, he got dropped, but then he came back and he had ring generalship, and they come up with all these fucking excuses for why their guy won. But when their guy, you know, lands a hard punch, oh, he won. That was enough to win the fight. So they never keep that same energy, as they like to say they're hypocrites, bro. But yeah, that's all I got to say, man. Thanks for taking my call, BDA.
Thank you, boxing scientist. Excellent points right there. Enjoy your rest of your Sunday, right, man? Take it easy. Yeah, that's the thing. Hey, ring generalship. Fury out-jabbed Ngannou. Ngannou fought the worst version of Fury. Couldn't beat him. I mean, again, I'm just keeping the same logic that these people bring, like boxing scientists say. Like he said. And people after Lomachenko, Haney, there's no such thing as robberies. That's what one caller actually told me. There's no such thing as robberies. The judges, they're paid to do this. They're professionals. They got it right on the money. Well, I guess the judges got to hear. Stop crying about it. Stop crying about it. Stop being crybabies. Go out in the street. Don't go out in the streets and start burning things. All right? Just, please don't do that. Let's go back to the phone lines here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? How are you?
Doing fantastic. 323, how about yourself?
I'm good. I just wanted to send a shout out for Never Sobers. I love the way he talks. He's so cute.
Okay.
My favorite commenter.
You like his voice, huh?
I'm sorry.
Gets you hard?
He just makes me blush. He makes me blush when he's on the chat.
All right. Keep going, man. Keep going.
Yeah. I'm just fucking. Hey, check this out, dude.
Obviously.
Check this out. Check this out, BDA. Este pinche gordo mantecoso, dude, he just let boxing down, bro. Come on, bro. If you're going to take on a fucking MMA guy, dude, come on, there's never box. You got to do a little bit better than that. Do it for the culture, like the boxing culture. That's just my opinion. Like anyone else that would have fought him would have understood the circumstances of the fight. You gotta do a little bit better than that. This fucker was out all night the night before, fucking snorting cocaine with like whores and shit. That's why he performed like that. Should he have done better? I think so. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he should have done better. And I think, like boxing scientists said and other people have said, this just proves that Fury was overrated. So, the MMA fans, too, are getting annoying because they're trying to make this out as a win for them, which, I mean, it is in a way because, I mean, there's no way a novice should have done this to one of the top 3 heavyweights. And I've said it before. This is one of the worst heavyweights. I mean, this just shows how mediocre this heavyweight division is because after Usyk and maybe Fury, there's not that many good guys out there. I mean, Zhilei Zhang is a 40-year-old fighter, and he's one of the guys that now boxing fans are saying could potentially take the crown. So absolutely, Fury was overrated. This just proves it, and the fact that he didn't even train either. That he didn't train, caller, right? I mean, he showed up at 277.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you, bro. Like the heavyweight division is just trash. I mean, I don't think anyone can claim that they're an all-time great or this whole Hall of Fame conversation. Wilder, Fury, anyone in Europe pretty much sucks balls and shit. That's just my opinion. Shout out to the homie Never Sobers, though, right here.
That's
Benzo
right.
Signing off. Yeet.
Hey, what about you? Hold on. You said you still there, man?
Yeah.
You said his voice. You like his voice. What about his tattoos? Is that something that you're into as well, or?
You know what? I don't know what it is, though. Hey, tell him to say, "Hey, Ma, where's the sandwich, Ma?" Es que on another channel, ese güey se la pasa like roasting this fucking white dude, this fat Italian white dude named JB, and he fucking pounds him, bro. It's fucking hilarious, bro.
Dora's a good guy. He's just a little crazy, man. All right, man. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I think he was talking about Dora because one time we heard him, "Hey, Mom, I'm taking a shit." I was like, "What?" But whatever. Yeah, at the beginning, that call when he called in here, he got me a little perturbed when he started talking about Never Sober's voice.
He's a fag.
Ah, man, come on, no. It's a Sunday show. We don't need that type of language here. All right, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go back to the phone calls here. We are taking your phone calls. We're talking about the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight. We haven't even gotten into Usyk Foster, his fight, which was a sensational fight that's been getting buried amongst all the Fury talk here. But let's go to the phone lines here. Let's go to 760. 760, you're in the air. 760, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, DDA? How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. Hope you're doing as fantastic as well, man. What's up?
Yeah, I think you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, if you look at the record, tiene Fury, the guy's beating Klitschko. He's beating Deontay Wilder, 3 times. Bro, the guy's 34-0-1. He was 33-0-1. Now he's 34-0-1. What Ngannou did is, I mean, just a normal guy that's like starts fighting in boxing and it's his first fight, and he goes in against the lineal champ. Come on, man. Like I'm a boxing fan too. I'm a boxing fan through and through. But to go in there and do what he did, I mean, we actually got to give him credit and not say that he's overrated or he didn't train or he didn't do this or he didn't do that. I mean, the separation is in the preparation, you know? And, I mean, obviously, I guess, you know, Fury wasn't prepared. And you know what? I'll tell you the truth. What?
I get what you're saying about not trying, giving guys their due and all that. And I give Ngannou credit for doing as well as he did. But Fury didn't train for this fight. 277 pounds, man. And then on top of that, we can't say he's overrated. I just said he is. The Klitschko fight, don't tell me he's cool, Klitschko. That was like the Ngannou fight. It was very uneventful, and he barely won that one. Wilder is trash.
So if you're doing the math, then Ngannou can actually go in there and beat Klitschko as well, and Deontay Wilder?
Hey, maybe. I mean, if he's taking on a prime Klitschko.
You know what? I'll tell you one thing. I've trained both. I have tons of pro MMA fights and pro boxing fights. And I used to box with Mikey Alvarado, Colorado. There's a big, I think the big difference in like the MMA guys and the boxing guys. Boxing guys, when you're in there in the ring, they know how to rest. They know how to defensively rest while they're in there, and they don't get over anxious and like throw too many shots and like drown themselves. MMA guys, they go in spurts and they want to like really like get it over with and get their thing done and get I feel like they don't understand the pace in boxing. But I'm telling you, like I think within like 5 to 10 years, MMA guys are going to be able to come over. A true MMA champion is going to be able to come over to the boxing ring, and I mean, pretty much compete and not get killed. I mean, actually even make it look like a good fight. I don't think we get, and the thing I noticed while training MMA and training boxing, when you train boxing and you train MMA, the difference is the difference between a marathon runner and a triathlete. So what's harder to train? To train just for a marathon or to train for a triathlon? So like when you're training for a marathon, you got to just worry about one thing. When you're training for a triathlon, you got to worry about 3 different things. In MMA, you got to worry about, you got to set aside time to go train kickboxing. You got to set aside time to go train jiu-jitsu. You got to set aside time to train wrestling. You got to set aside time to train Muay Thai. You got to set aside time to train just boxing by itself. And then not only that, it's the injuries, bro. Like in MMA, like the amount of injuries that you get, it's insane. Like you got to really watch yourself with the injuries. So the point of my thing is when I went to go over and I just trained boxing, I was like, damn, this is a relief. Shit, man. All I got to do is train one thing, and I got to worry about only like hands coming at me. I don't have to worry about if I slip a punch and I get kicked in the head. Damn, this shit's easy. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's easy as far as training for the thing.
Well, what's interesting about that is to say that boxing, when people say about that boxing MMA, with boxing though, once you get to the high level, that's when the reality sinks in about how difficult it is. Because yes, it's just one aspect of which is punching with the hands, but then that's where the intricacies get involved. The timing, the distance, the feinting, all those things differentiate a guy who can do well against a world-class guy. Because now you're getting into the minutia of a specific skill set. And that's what a lot of people don't get. But
I'm telling you, I've done both. I've pro boxer and pro MMA guy. So
I wanted to ask you.
You really can't like.
I wanted to ask you. You said you sparred Mike Alvarado.
Yes, Mikey Alvarado, right before his Brandon Rios fight, I was his sparring partner.
Whoa, yes, okay. So that's high level sparring then, because I mean that was a professional high level fight.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, yeah.
Well, hold on, let me ask you this.
Yeah,
let me ask you,
of course, bro.
What weight were you at? Were you at the same weight as him, or one weight class below, or one weight class?
I was a little heavier. Yeah, I was a little heavier. I mean, I'm probably about 155 pounds.
How did his punching power feel?
Oh, dude, that guy hit he hit like a freaking freight train. It felt like a freaking bricks were just hitting us.
Jeez Louise.
But like there's probably about 4 of us, and I mean, I learned a lot from that. I mean, it was just that. And you know what? A lot of people don't know about Mikey Alvarado. He's a 4-time wrestling state champion in Colorado. 4-time champion. Freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, he won state in wrestling.
Now that Colorado, that's a high level wrestling place, right? State, I mean.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Now, so when the reason why I asked about the punching power is because Brandon Rios, he was a strong lightweight, strong lightweight, and even a junior welterweight, he was a pretty strong guy. Fucking Alvarado was twisting his head and breaking his guard. I mean, this guy, even when he fought Prodovnikov early on before he got worn down, but he was cracking Prodovnikov with some mean shots.
You're 100% right.
Must have been hell sparring that day with 16 ounces.
Yeah. I mean, I got some. I came out of there with some good ass whippings. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, I can see the contrast in like defensively, how to pace yourself and everything. There's a lot of things that you got to learn, and the devil is in the small details that you probably can't even see what's going on, like just on regular video, but yeah, like, going in there with a pro boxer, it gives you going in there with high level pro boxers, it gives you a lot of appreciation for what's going on. But I'm telling you, like, when I'm training like boxing and then I'm training MMA, it's a relief, because I'm like, man, I don't have to like go and wrestle today. Man, I don't have to go and do Muay Thai today. Man, I don't have to do jiu-jitsu today. Like, and like it gives you almost a relief, because you're like, damn, bro, all I got to do is do some sprints, get my good conditioning and box, get some sparring in. I don't have to worry about all those other like 25 different things I gotta and the injuries, because you get injured in jiu-jitsu, you get injured in wrestling, you get injured in Muay Thai. You have to like condition your shins. There's so many like things that are involved in like getting ready for an MMA fight. I think that's underappreciated as well. I mean, because I'm a boxing fan through and through, and I'm a boxer, I'm a pro boxer. I have pro boxing fights and I have pro MMA fights, so I can appreciate both of them.
Yeah, that's some interesting input right there from a guy who's on both. By the way, would you be willing to give us your name to see if people can look you up? If you want to, that's hold on. If you don't, I'm not pressuring you. I'm just saying.
This is a huge public forum. I don't want to throw my name out there.
All right, that's fair enough. All right, well, listen, good input, good call, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, have a good one.
Take it easy. You too, man. Take it easy, man. Yeah, that's an interesting output there. Yeah, that's the thing, though. If I had more time, I would have liked to have asked him about the injuries, because I train in a gym that's boxing and MMA as well, and the MMA guys, they tend to get injured more, man. And I asked them, what is it? Is it the rolling? And one of them told me, you shouldn't worry about the injuries. And I said, okay, I shouldn't worry, but like the caller said, the injuries are more prevalent with UFC MMA guys. I have to wonder if it's because of the rolling aspect of it. I mean, you're fucking very, very easily can fall on your knee or twist something. I don't know, man. But but both things have their danger. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to another phone call here. 210. You're on the air. 210. What's on your mind?
Oh, hey, BD, what's up?
What's up, man?
Lefty.
Oh, geez, what's up, man?
How do I? I was gonna pull over and call because I'm on the road. Do I sound okay?
Oh shit. Well, if you want to call back later, man, I'll skip you and go to another call.
Okay, I'll call right now in a couple of minutes. I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it. Take it easy, man. I'll call back later, I should say. All right, let's go to the phone call here. Let's go to 336. 336, you're on the air. 336, what's on your mind?
Yo, so I didn't watch the Fury Ngannou fight because I was asleep. Either way, he looked like shit, so it seems. I don't know if it was a robbery or not. I mean, a lot of people think it was, so I'll have to watch it, and that's all good and whatnot. But what I really want to talk about is the Foster-Hernandez fight. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how all these fucking Crips sit there. Also, I picked Foster to win, so they're like, oh, Foster beat the robbery in Mexico and knocked out Hernandez in the 12th round. Foster was down 8-3 on my card, and I think most people's cards he was down in the fight. So really, this is all just typical LGBC, Lick Deontay's Balls crew, Crip, black on black crime, black on black hate, because what they're doing is downplaying how spectacular that finish was. He pulled it out of the fire in the 12th fucking round after fighting in round 11 in what was round of the year, and he made it happen. And they're saying, oh, he knocked him out because he was going to get robbed. He was going to get robbed. These fucking American Crips and these channels that support these guys are so fucking cringe. No other country in the world has sanctioned title fights where a challenger or champion has 3 American judges. They have the same judges of the same country of origin. 3 judges of one country of origin. In Europe, Asia, and probably Mexico too, they're all neutral judges. And that was fucking terrible. Even when these Crips are challengers to these foreign fighters, they still get all-American judges. It's a fucking disgrace. But, they're so used to getting robbery gift decisions that a guy can shake his ass, do nothing, which is what he was, Foster was doing for a lot of the fight, getting outworked, outlanded, with his ass style, and it wasn't very effective. And then, he figured him out late, landed his shots, actually got front foot dominant, and what do you know? Fucking landed some shit and got him up out of there. But anyway, they're just so used to these
I got that point. I got that point. Yeah, I got that point. But I wanted to chime in on what you're saying about, because when Hernandez started back foot bitching it, people said, I saw that in some comments on Twitter, people saying, oh, he was giving up the rounds. I think he was doing the same thing Usyk Foster was doing for 8-9 rounds. But then they want to call. Yep. They want to say that. But then they want to say that Hernandez was going to get. I mean, they want to say then that Foster was going to get robbed. But they just said when Hernandez started back foot bitching it, and he was outboxing Usyk Foster on top of that, or outworking him when he was on the back foot. All of a sudden, he's giving up the rounds. But Usyk Foster wasn't giving up the rounds. Before he ended up pulling it out.
Exactly. They were acting like he wasn't giving up 6-7 rounds or 5. Yeah, dude, he was getting outworked for the first 8 or 9 rounds of the fight. And I give him so much credit for stopping the guy. But I'm not going to act like he just beat a fucking robbery decision. Like, it was a fucking joke that one of the judges had him up on the fucking cards, man. He was clearly getting beat.
But I also want to point something out that you said there, Dora.
These guys have... Go ahead.
Yeah, because you're repeating a lot of stuff there. But I want to... You brought up the great point that... And I said the same thing after the Frank Martin Havonosian card, that Martin actually did better when he stood his ground and used his superior firepower.
Yep.
But Usyk Foster, same thing. He was trying to back foot bitch it, clinch, run around the ring, apply those ass tactics, the American slick style, which wasn't working. Yep. It was failing him. He was getting outworked. But when he actually stood his ground, and his corner kept saying, go to the body. Hernandez was wide open to the body, especially when he was getting tired. I think Usyk Foster could have actually taken him out earlier. Yeah, he might have run into something, but he was actually doing a good job of blocking a lot of the shots.
You're right, BDA. Sorry for cutting you. If he was supposed to win, if he's supposed to wash him, Foster, the first time he ever stepped up in competition, he got knocked out in 1 round. He had a padded record. He wasn't a Ring Magazine top 10 fighter. I probably wasn't even a consensus top 20 junior lightweight. Had the dude stood his ground, like you said, and actually came to fight, he probably would have blasted the guy out of there in 5 or 6 rounds instead of having to pull it out of the fire. But he's so used to shaking his ass because Floyd and all these other bombs like Haney fucking do it and get gift fucking decisions throughout their career doing it. They thought, oh, maybe I'll get one too. When you got neutral judges, the ass style, you're not going to get a fucking gift decision robbery where corruption isn't involved. So these blacks need to get away from that fucking style, because I think Foster hopefully learned, if I actually sit down and fight back and not try and fight like a fucking boring Crip, I can not only win the fight, but I can look spectacular doing it.
Exactly.
So that's all I had to say on that. That was a really good fight. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because look, when you stand your ground, these Afro-Anglo guys and anybody else that tries to fight in that ass style, that American slick style, has to learn that the only way that's a sure-proof or bulletproof way of winning is if you got the judges on your side and the referee on your side. And if you've got significant talent, you need all those things to even pull it off with the ass style. The ass style is just an ineffective boxing style because the rules are quite clear. Effective aggression, ring generalship, clean effective punching. It's clean, effective punching, ring generalship, effective aggression.
Yep.
If you're on the ass style, that's not what it is.
Yeah, they do neither. It does neither. It's not effective punching because, like you said, their back foot's on the way out the door, so they're not sitting down on their punch. They're not the ring general because they're getting walked down. And secondly, a lot of these guys clinch, low blow. They start holding forearms and shit like that, moving their shoulders, moving their waist and shit. And what happens is the ref doesn't deduct points. So they then separate these fucking crip fighters again. They go right back with all this space to go right back on their back foot. And they don't offer these fucking guys anything. They don't offer their opponent anything, and they can just clinch whenever the opponent gets inside. So you hit it right on the head. The referee has to just not enforce the rules because ever since Floyd Mayweather fought like this, the referees have never really taken points for clinching anymore, which is a fucking disgrace. Dude, 70 years ago, the ass style is stalling. If you look at through all the laundry list of rules, how these guys fight, it would be under the rule of stalling. They're not initiating the fight or trying to fight at all. They don't try to stand their ground at any point. Your points would be taken away and you would probably get fucking disqualified. You know, in Sugar Ray Robinson's era, Henry Armstrong, Joe Louis, and when those guys fought, you would be disqualified if you fought like that. And people don't want to talk about that shit anymore. I'm tired of this black privilege in the sport. It's fucking garbage. I'm tired of these channels sticking up for this ass style. And I'm tired of these channels trying to make narratives that don't fucking exist. Foster would not have gotten robbed if he didn't stop him in the 12th round. He lost damn near every round of that fight. And he needs to get credit. He needs to be given credit for knocking him out and pulling it out of the fire and getting out of his ass style. See, these people are supporting his ass style, which is what almost lost him the fucking fight.
Exactly. There you go. That's the thing. There's no doubt about it, man. All right, well, listen, Dora, we got to move on. All right, take it easy, man. There you go. Yeah, because look, shout out to O'Shaquie Foster because he realized, I mean, he did it out of necessity, but hopefully he learns the lesson here that ass style can only take you so far. Even in the Vargas fight, I mean, with a bad set of judges, they could have given it to Vargas. Ray Vargas is what I'm talking about. But when you sit down, if you get actual firepower, use it. Same thing with Frank Martin. When he did his best against Havonisin when he stood his ground and pushed the guy. But when you're running, that can only take you so far. Sit down on your shots. I'll give you a third example, if you want to go there. When Canelo Alvarez fought Golovkin the first time, he back foot bitched it. It was competitive, but he clearly lost that fight. So he realized, okay, I can't outbox Golovkin, moving around excessively. I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to try to knock him out. And what do you know? He won that fight. Even if you want to say Golovkin won it, you got to admit it was much closer than the first one. So again, that ass style is ineffective. It's a mirage. People have been conditioned to accept it, just like they accept clinching, which is against the rules. Clean, effective punching, effective aggression, ring generalship. That is more. You can't see anything better than that than when a guy is pushing the other guy back and controlling the action and cutting the ring off. That's it. But people nowadays, they want to make excuses. Again, if you want to save the sport, you gotta support and encourage fighters to fight more aggressively. I'm not saying go in there and fight like Arturo Gatti and make a word, or like Mike Alvarado, as a previous caller mentioned. But, throw some combos, be a little bit more aggressive. You're not going to get your ass knocked out with one shot. Seldom happens in boxing. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. Don't forget to hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 210. 210, you're in the air. 210, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? Southpaw Lefty. What's cracking?
Oh, Southpaw, what's up, man?
Not much, man. I can't stand boxing, man. You never know what to expect. I'm all here thinking that Fury is going to be like, all right, I'm going to watch this. It's going to be a rollover fight. Man, it ended up being competitive. I mean, how long? Talk about a long-ass card, right? I mean, how long was that event? That was crazy.
Yeah, it's like Steve Kim says, it's like it was nice of them to put in a little boxing in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna skip I'm gonna skip the Foster fight because he has that style that's not really fun to watch, and then I'm reading the headlines and it's like, okay, well, I'm like, oh fuck, it sounded like it was a firefight. I'm like, man, that just goes to show you, man, you never know what to expect, But man, I gotta say, man, but my thing about the heavyweights today, they're too big, and I really do think they're overrated, man. It's just if an MMA fighter was gonna have any chance to compete with a boxer, it's going to be in the heavyweights, because in the heavyweights, you really don't need as much skill as the lighter weights. I mean, look at Wilder. Wilder had no background. I mean, he started late. You know what I mean? He only had a handful of amateur fights. Same thing with Joshua. Joshua, he started late and became a champion. Fury he has a horrible style, man. He's hard to watch, man, because all he does is hold, clinch, grab, lean. He tries to put all his weight on people. He doesn't really land clean shots. You know what I mean? His shots are like, I don't know, they're always grazing, sweeping shots that they're not straight down the pipe from A to B, like from point A to point B. It's just, I don't know, he's hard to watch. I think he's going to stink up the joint with Usyk. There's no way the Saudis were going to give Ngannou the fight. They weren't going to, because, they're already financing the next one. But, yeah, that's the thing with the heavyweights, man. You really don't need that much skill anymore because they gotten so damn big. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you see a guy like Usyk, and it kind of reminds you of the old school heavyweights. Like they were like more Mike Tyson's size, where you got to have foot speed, you got to have hand speed, you got to have defense. Like today, you just got to have a punch, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, people forget. I mean, you look at Ali was actually pretty tall for a heavyweight back in the day, and then when George Foreman came along, he was, oh shit, he's a monster, he's a brick shithouse. Then you compare it to some of the guys from today, 6'5", 6'6", 250 plus pounds. I mean, these guys are behemoths compared to some of the heavyweights of the past. I mean, Caller, could you have seen Joe Frazier compete with some of these guys?
Well, no, he would probably be campaigning at light heavyweight, right? Cruiserweight. He wouldn't be a heavyweight, but and if you look at how he fought, he had that bob and weave style. He'd get in, work the jab. These guys move a lot. These heavyweights today, they're just kind of like, they're just oafs. They're big oafs that are just lurching around the ring slowly. It's like you're watching a fight underwater. These guys just aren't. That's why I don't like these heavyweights. They're too big, man. Like it takes all the athleticism away from the actual fights. And like I said, Fury, you can't trust the guy. He didn't train, but like I said, if anybody was gonna have a chance to look good from MMA to boxing, it's going to be in the heavyweights, because look at all, like I said, Wilder, AJ, they started late, man. You really don't need that much experience to be a heavyweight these days. I mean, Andy Reid doesn't even train. He eats more than he trains. He goes in there like, with a beer belly and he does okay. It's just, but you can't do that in the lighter weight. That's why I don't like all these weight classes. I think boxing should do away with a lot of these weight classes and do kind of like what UFC does. There's less confusion. 2 or 3 pounds, but like the heavyweights are just too big.
You're right, man. It's getting out of hand, and the Pandora's box has been opened. There's no way back. It's these big guys are just gonna get in there, and a lot of them get in there because, like you said, the size. Well, I'm a 6 feet 6 inch tall guy. I'm gonna make it in boxing, and they get in there, and it's out of hand now. It's outrageous. But anyway, listen, Southpaw, man.
How many football players? How many football players lately have you seen coming into the? It's always like somebody coming in from another sport. But yeah, hey man, that's all I got. But yeah, man, I'm done with the heavyweights. I'm hoping he pulls off the win, but I think it's going to be an ugly fight, man. I'm telling you, Fury's going to just wrestle the whole night and try to just wear him down. But yeah, we need to get back to some normalcy, man. So Usyk, we need Usyk in heavyweight boxing as the man. So all right, man. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate you calling in, man. All right, take it easy out there. Thank you for your call. Yeah, man. Don't forget to call in, fellas. It's a calling show. The phone number is right there in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. And let's get to some updates here because, again, Fury, who, like I said, congenital, pathological, and habitual liar, said that, now the fight against Usyk is done. Now, he was trying to twist it and turn the tables on Usyk, saying that Usyk didn't want to fight as early as September. That's what they were saying. Late December, that's when the fight's going to take place. Usyk, you dusser, don't try to get out of it. Don't try to wiggle out. Well, now, after his horrible showing against Ngannou, now it's the Tyson Fury camp that's saying this fight ain't taking place this year. early next year. According to Michael Benson on Twitter, Tyson Fury vs. Alexander Usyk will not take place on December the 23rd as initially planned. Frank Warren has now confirmed. He insisted that the undisputed WBA, WBC, blah, 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 heavyweight world title fight will still happen next, likely late January or February. Now, who would have... And by the way, I forgot to mention, they skipped the post-fight press conference. Is it because people were going to ask too many hard questions of Tyson Fury? Maybe, maybe not. We can only speculate. But it's rare that they ever cancel a post-fight press conference, and yet they did so for this one. I'm telling you, Fury's house of cards is falling apart. And that's why you should... That's why I tell people, look, okay, you want to sell the fight, do a little trash talking, but this guy overdid it. It's an investment that can go wrong real quick. Real quick. And this dude... And by the way, people say, oh, he trained. BDA, he said he trained. Again, you're going to trust this guy after all the lies he's told? And again, he can say whatever he wants. He can say, like Bucho said, he can say that he trained. He can say that he had the best training camp ever, blah, blah. Whatever he wants to say, you look at his shape, 277 pounds. This guy was not in shape. And it's his fault. It almost cost him. Hubris will get to most of these people. That's what it is. I mean, what do you think happens with guys that can't see reality? And they think that, you know, we see it here in the boxing, YouTube boxing community. People that think they know things and they talk just to talk, or, you know, they can be very truculent. You like that word, fellas? Truculent? That's somebody that's eager to, or quick to argue or fight. And they don't even think things through, and they get continually, I mean, we can roll out and list the names of people that have passed through this channel alone. You catch them in a lie or something that they were wrong in, and they try to come back right back with something else instead of just admitting, okay, you know what, BDA, that's a good point. I didn't see it that way. No. So when you're overly prideful, that's when things go wrong. Let's not forget Proverbs 11:2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with the humble is wisdom. Now, Fury fancies himself a fan of the scriptures, a follower of the Christian way, the New Testament, not the Old Testament, the New Testament. He should open up that book again and curtail and eschew the trash talking, because, like I said, that can go wrong real quick. What are people in the chat saying? Super Sardonic says, I want to see him knock out Turtle Mero. His fans have been running their mouths for too long. I think they're talking about MMA. Quentin Lacitre said, did you hear Mirage sucking off Mirage hard? Did I hear Mirage sucking? I mean, are you saying he sucks? Like he sucks his own dick? Because he strikes me as the type of guy that would do that. Like he practices yoga and all that, flexibility, just he can suck his own dick. So maybe, I don't know. I didn't hear him say that. I heard him say last night. I heard a little bit of the show from last evening. I think he said that he was clowning Fury. As well he should, because I mean, Fury deserves every ounce and gram of criticism that's going his way. JJ says Ngannou is going to make a lot of money versus AJ, Wilder, etc. Well, that's the other thing, though. Shout out to Ngannou, because he really what's the word I'm looking for here? Overperformed, really. I didn't make a prediction, by the way, before this fight, because I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to go. I hadn't seen Ngannou fight ever, so I didn't want to make a determination, uneducated prediction. But I am surprised, nevertheless, that he was able to do so good, because I wouldn't have expected that. Nevertheless, I was surprised to hear that he's 37. I just learned that today, by the way. He's 37 years old. He's not a spring chicken either. But then again, like we were saying, in today's heavyweight division, a little size, a little punching power could take you a good long way nowadays. You don't really need to be an expert or the fastest guy out there. But now, when it comes to the Usyk-Fury fight, I was trying to give Fury credit before that, because a lot of the people that we know in our circle of boxing here were picking Usyk to win. And that's the other thing. When people say, well, I thought you guys said Tyson Fury was a king. Nobody on this, none of the regular panelists were saying that Tyson Fury was a king. All of us had Usyk as a number one guy. Now, there were some guys like ESPN that were probably overhyping him, because that's their guy. That's the guy that fights on their network. And maybe the gypsies and all that. Very few people were actually saying he was the man. And for the people that are saying that Tyson Fury was being hailed as the greatest heavyweight of his era, certainly not real boxing fans, especially the real boxing fans that were shitting on him for avoiding Usyk and coming out with a bunch of excuses not to fight him this year. So I don't know where people are coming up with that one. But as for the potential Usyk Fury fight, yeah, Usyk beats him. I mean, he would be the favorite to beat him because it's okay. Ngannou is bigger than Usyk, and he does hit harder, punch for punch. But Usyk is faster, has better footwork, and is more intelligent. Fury, as we saw last night, is a 1-2 guy. Now, the reason why he was able to beat Wilder was because he was 1-2 clinch and then wear him down on the inside. 1-2 clinch, 1-2 clinch, wear him down on the inside. Couldn't do that against Ngannou, who's strong as an ox. And if you think that 1-2 clinch approach is going to work against Usyk, it's going to be 1-2 and Usyk's going to be out of the way. It's going to be 1-2 and then Usyk's going to counter him with 2-3 shots to get out of the way. That I highly doubt that approach is going to work. It could. I don't have a crystal ball, but I to me right now it's 70% Usyk, 30% Fury. That's the way it goes because Ngannou wasn't exactly out muscling or walking Fury down. There was a lot of staring at each. It was like that Klitschko fight. It was a lot of staring, a lot of feinting, a lot of missed shots whenever they did throw. And Fury just outworked him with the jab, but not by that much. So if you think that approach is going to work against Usyk, like again, some people in the chat are saying what I just said. They're saying, yeah, but Usyk is smaller than Francis. Yeah, he's also faster. And his punches aren't exactly tickles in there. He's not exactly going to be tickling Fury. Those shots hurt. Just ask Anthony Joshua. Ask Daniel Dubois. Ask Chisora, who outweighed Usyk on fight night by 30-something pounds and was still staggered in the middle rounds against Usyk. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm more convinced than ever. 70% chances that Usyk beats him. Now, Fury is a world-class fighter, and he's a giant, so maybe he could pull it off. But a 1-2 clinch, he's not going to be able to catch Usyk with that. If you disagree or whatever, just call in. The phone lines are still open. I'm going to invite a couple of people now here. Some of the usual panelists. In case they want to jump in, let me know. Actually, I'm going to invite them either way. Gonzalo, I'm going to call you first, but don't answer yet, or answer if you want. But it's going to take us to another room here when I call other people as well. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Call in if you want. Tell us about the Fury and Ngannou fight. But I mean, we've talked about enough about that fight. If you want to talk about the Usyk Foster Hernandez fight, that 11th round. I mean, what's his name? That dude that fought Luis Neri. That to me is still a fight of the year based on the consistency of it. But that 11th round last night, I mean, that was insane. I can't remember the last time we saw a back and forth round like that in a good long while. But that was insane. Who else am I inviting here? Did I forget anybody? I don't think so. All right, we got Gonzalo here. Gonzalo, what's up, man? Thank you for being on. Always appreciate it. What did you think about the Usyk Foster Hernandez fight?
Were you thinking about Hovhannissian BDA right now?
I always get Hovhannissian confused with the guy that fought that should have gotten the decision against Frank Martin. What's his name again? I think it's the same last name, right?
Assad, maybe the same last name or very similar.
Yeah, something like that. But what do you think about the Usyk Foster versus Hernandez fight?
Hey, man, Jesus Christ. It was a good fight. Rocky Hernandez didn't know how to pace himself. I guess you would call that kind of like the curse of the puncher. He had never gone 12. He was used to getting his opponents out of there earlier. I mean, he had more knockouts than Usyk Foster had fights. But Usyk Foster, in his own right, is becoming a little bit of the executioner. He beat Mickey Roman already. He beat Dre Vargas, the dude that looks like El Chupacabras from Otumba, Mexico.
Right.
Now he took out Rocky Hernandez. And the thing about Rocky, he didn't know how to pace himself. And he was kind of doing what Meldrick Taylor did when Lou Duba jumped into the ring, but it was El Ferco, the dude that's on the show Ay Tiro. El Ferco was very boisterous, and Rocky Hernandez kept looking outside of the square circle. He kept looking outside for instructions. I don't know what the deal was with that, but he was losing focus, and he got caught with a big punch. Now, maybe Rocky has a slightly vulnerable chin because he's been clipped before in the first round. Forget that dude's name, the Nicaraguan guy. and he's been dropped before, but he's still got potential. We'll see what happens with him. It was a good performance, though, by both guys.
That's the thing, though.
It was an exciting fight.
But Gonzalo, that's the thing, though. We were talking with Dora about that Usyk Foster, that his corner kept saying, go to the body, go to the body. I know Hernandez hits hard, so if you stand in front of him, he could get caught. But, I mean, do you think things would have been a lot more easier for Usyk Foster? Do you think he could have been ahead or maybe even gotten Hernandez out of there earlier had he committed to the body?
Probably, but he was too concerned with Rocky's power because Rocky started out real fast. And he was very powerful. But, yeah, all of a sudden you saw, like, the tide turning when Rocky took a round off. And you could actually appreciate a little bit more, like, when Rocky was getting tired, he was wilting a little. The other guy was, like, looking bigger all of a sudden. I know he's kind of skinny and he's got, like, a narrow waist. It's got, like, the whole bodybuilder effect. But he was looking huge all of a sudden. It's like, wait a minute. So it was a good game plan by Usyk. But yeah, that was close. He could have very well potentially had lost that if Rocky would have fought more intelligently and would have taken that last round off. And I know it's kind of like it goes against what he wanted to do because he said he was going to go out with pride or something along those lines. But man, if he would have taken that last round off, he would have won, right? And he refused to clinch, which is also like a good thing. But at the same time, you can't clinch when you're hurt. I don't go against that. I'm just saying excessively clinching just to kill the clock is a different story. But if you need to resort to clinching because, like, for example, in his case, he was winning the fight and just to get you out of trouble, hey, why not? Right? But he refused to clinch.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Now, he was actually, I was surprised about two things. One, that Usyk Foster went for the clinches as early as he did and that the referee actually warned him about it. And Usyk Foster was complaining. He's like, "Why are you warning me?" It was, well, clinching is illegal, number one. Like I said, this is another example of how fighters should be a little bit more aggressive instead of back foot bitching it, because that back foot bitch approach it just doesn't work unless you got everything on your favor. Second of all, Gonzalo, now that Usyk Foster has pulled it off, he's with the zone, I think. Emmanuel Navarrete is the number one guy in the division, but he's with Top Rank. And I think Top Rank has other plans for him that don't involve Usyk Foster. The one guy that could potentially, that they could match him up with, talking about Usyk Foster, is Joe Cordina, who's going to be fighting it later on this year. He's fast, he hits hard. He got a good win over, what was his name? Zavad Rakimov. This guy can hit hard with both hands. How do you think if Usyk Foster versus Cordina fight would go down?
I think he's fighting next week. I've only seen him fight like once, maybe twice. He's a good fighter. All of a sudden, he's just like biding his time, looking for a good counter, and all of a sudden he explodes. Like all of a sudden you see the talent come out in Cordina. So he can crack too. Got some good counters. No, that's a good fight. I can't say for sure right now.
I don't think.
Hey, BDA, no, but I was mentioning Rocky Hernandez was the one that refused to clinch.
Right. Yeah, I got that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have.
But I get what you mean. That's true too. Usyk started clinching very early. Yes.
I was surprised, number two, about when Rocky Hernandez decided to get on the back foot. He was actually outworking Usyk Foster. I'll put it to you this way: when Usyk Foster was backing up, Hernandez was actually outworking him, and when Hernandez was backing up, he was also outworking Usyk Foster. So in a way, I don't blame Usyk Foster too much for not standing his ground, because look, if you don't know how to do it and you're gonna get your ass knocked out, then don't do it. Keep back foot bitching it, because at least that way you might wear the guy down the way he did last night. But it's not an aesthetically looking or efficient approach most of the time. I see we got Never Sobers here as well. Never Sobers, you guys take the lead. I'll be right back because I need a latrine break. You guys take over. I'll be right back. All right, talk about whatever you want, Fury and Ngannou if you want, or whatever. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll go over the Francis and Ngannou fight, because it was really funny, dude, to see. Tyson really had no excuses. He said he had 12-week training camp. That's longer than most training camps. He showed up looking like a sausage, but that's no different than what he usually shows up looking like. He's always been a fat ass. So what was crazy in there that I don't I think BDA and some other guys were saying that they think that Tyson Fury won. I don't think he won, bro. He wasn't landing any jabs. The best shots of the fights that he threw were 2 right hands in succession. And then in the replays, you see them the shots bouncing off Francis Ngannou's titty, right? So that being said, Ngannou beat him, right? And then he got robbed, right?
I also, did you guys catch? Hey, Never Sobers. He got dropped in the 7th round as well, but the Canadian referee,
yeah.
he was facing the backside, so he couldn't see what was happening.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Forward. Yep, they didn't count that. And even if you look at it, Fury's expression, because he's facing the camera and he's leaning on the ropes, right? You could see he looks flustered. He took a punch and he fell and he got up hurt, but the referee was facing his back, right?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. And another thing that I noticed too, that they said that they were only 5 pounds apart. I think Tyson Fury is 272. I mean 276 or 275, and Ngannou was 272. And you see Tyson Fury trying to grab him and clinch him, and trying to muscle him around. And Ngannou's like, dude, I'm not the one to do that way. And he kind of just tosses him around. That's what really, I think, scared Fury, bro, because he could not manhandle this guy like he's manhandled everyone else. And,
yeah,
I was gonna say, wait, though. That being said, though, he got robbed, whatever, and people who don't like it, whoop-de-whoop. Hey, man, that's boxing, bro. How y'all like it? And if you were in my chat, hey, bro, if you were in my chat when it happened, Johnny Blaze was there, and there was a lot of people like talking and like, whoa, but you can hear him in the background going, "That was for Loma. That was for Loma."
Oh man,
I don't go back and forth with these fools, but like freaking, I thought he got robbed too, because like if you count like I said, the knockdown in the 7th round, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, in a certain podcast, I'm not gonna dime anybody out there. We're saying, well, what was Ngannou doing? He was just walking forward with his hands up. Well, fucking walking up with your hands held high is what you're supposed to do in boxing. That's actually being fundamentally sound. And when you're catching and fucking and shooting back and countering the boxer like Ngannou was doing to Fury, he was the one that was landing the more telling significant blows that the crowd was oohing and eyeing, right? Because I didn't see an Ngannou like biting on the feints and doing too much of anything. Yeah, he landed an elbow and an uppercut and maybe like 1 or 2 right hands. CompuBox had him pretty even, like leading going into the 12th round as far as like punches thrown and punches landed. But at the same time, freaking, like I mentioned it on Open Lines, he wasn't biting on the feints, and somebody said something that I thought it was like, man, that's true. Because probably Ngannou's used to seeing fucking elbows and we caught an elbow there, but he's used to seeing kicks. He's used to seeing kicks and punches at different looks when it comes to like the feints. So he wasn't biting on the feints that Fury was doing with the 2 hands. And that was actually like a good thing. It played out. He kept his cool, right?
Hey, but that's a
so,
great point.
Isn't the robbery supposed to be fucking illegal in Saudi Arabia? I mean, one judge had it right, but the other 2, they should cut the hands that they were writing with.
Ah, come on, wait. But you're saying they should bury them in sand and lapidate them? Is that what you're saying? Just stone them to death? But I want to go back to what.
Yeah, that's probably why they didn't have a press conference. PDA. They had to take a timeout.
Yeah, they had to execute the 2 judges. No, but I want to go back to what Never Sober said, because it's true. It's after the Lomachenko-Haney fight. Again, I re-emphasize, the same people that are saying Ngannou got robbed are the ones that are saying, well, Loma didn't get robbed. The judges get it right on the money. They're professionals. They're paid professionals. They get paid to do this for a living. They're trained. You can't go against the judges, cry about it. Well, by the way, I dislike Tyson Fury. You just heard me bury him a couple of hours ago when the stream started. So I'm not a Fury fan, but if I wanted to be an asshole, I mean, let's do it this way. Look at this guy. Fury fans mad at Wilder because Fury robbed the UFC fighter. This guy, Artman, he's the same guy that says that Haney won the fight. This dude, the mouth breather here, robbery. Francis Ngannou drops Tyson Fury. This other dude on Twitter, who's also an Afro-Anglo black supremacist, they robbed Dubois and Ngannou to have their mediocre on dispute. There's no such thing as robbery, guys. The judges are paid professionals. Cry about it. Just keep, like Never Sober said, whoop-de-doo. Have a cookie.
No, you got to keep it consistent, bro. When we say this fool got robbed, cool, right? But they gave the one to Haney. His career continues.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Fury robbed his ass, and his career is going to continue. He's going to do the undisputed.
And you know what?
Usyk's probably going to beat him.
Sorry, man. Yeah, I heard on Twitter too. Some of these guys in these comment sections of that comments I posted, the guy, the white privilege. So Haney is white. Is that what we're getting at now? I mean, I know he grew up in a private school. I know he grew up in a private school, and he's technically, yeah, inside he's white, but he tries to act hard, like Perguay say. He tries to act like he's from the hood, from the ghetto. But we all know. So maybe that's why he got the win over Lomachenko. It's a white privilege.
Yeah, I'll just say this. He loves to play hacky sack.
That makes no sense, man. Hey, but guys, I wanted to show you this, man. I don't know what's up with this, man. You guys tell me what's going on here. Last night they invited the Saudis. They spent, or these Arabs, I don't know if it was in Saudi Arabia, but they spent a lot of money on this fight. And they spent a lot of money to fly in the stars. It was a star-studded event. And, hold on a second. It was a star-studded event. They had Cristiano Ronaldo. They had Eminem. Yee, a.k.a. Kanye West, was there. A bunch of boxing royalty as well. And so Mike Tyson and Amir Khan were there. And I don't know if you guys saw this. Hold on a second. Why isn't this shit playing? But, yeah, they had Mike Tyson. Amir Khan was there. Check this video out, man. This is highly weird and disturbing. Well, you guys tell me what's going on here. All right? This is Amir Khan holding Mike Tyson's hand.
The main man, Mike. Mike, how many people you knock out with this?
I don't know.
With these hands?
48, but like 200 in the street.
Check that out, guys. Oh, look at them open the man, bro. Yes, bro. Hands.
What is going on here, fellas? Somebody break it down for me.
This dude's obviously flirting with him, bro. When someone rubs their fingers up and down against your skin like that, holding you onto you that long, come on, bro.
Look at these hands. What's going on here, man?
You could destroy lives with these hands, can't you? You could probably destroy me.
Yeah, you can destroy my ass with these hands. Like, what's going on here, man? What's going on? What is this video?
It's some weird flirtatious shit going on, dude.
I mean, and you know what?
Mike Tyson's already spoken on that. I think he's been, when he was a kid, some weird stuff happened. And people have been on my channel, we've talked, we alluded to that this guy, Custom Model, was probably on some weird shit with this dude, too.
Well, he used to hypnotize him.
Okay, so come on, bro.
An old man grabs this young kid, underage, out of the ghetto and hypnotizes him. I mean...
Parents don't care about him. You know what I mean?
What's that?
Parents don't care about him. They're probably not worried about what happens to him.
Exactly. It's like, I hate to cast aspersions on people, but I mean, that whole thing, Cosdamato thing, everybody loves to say, oh, Cosdamato, what a great guy. He helped him out. I don't know, man. It's just, it's bizarre to me. And then another grown man in Teddy Atlas goes up to Mike Tyson and puts a gun to his head. I mean... But what's going on here in this video? Again, let's for people who are just jumping in. By the way, let's get to 100 likes. Let's get to 100 likes. Hit the like. Really helps us out with the algorithm. Let's re-listen to the video here. This Amir Khan, infatuated and possibly turned on.
That was Amir Khan video?
That was Amir Khan, a Muslim, by the way. Remember, this type of stuff is supposed to be against the religion. Forbidden by the religion.
That's a big bozo no-no, right?
It's a big asshole no-no. Yeah, look at this.
So, Joshua did something weird to this guy, bro.
Well, let's just replay it for people that miss it.
Hands. The main man, Mike. Mike, how many people you knock out with this?
I don't know.
With these hands?
48, but like 200 in the street.
Look at that little giggle. Look at that. Why is he rubbing the hands? Okay, I get you want to see the guy's hands are big because that's probably how he knocks people out, or partially. But why is he rubbing the hands?
Not only that, BD, he's tickling the inside of the palm. That in Mexico, for Mexicans, that's like the sign that you want to. That's usually towards the girl, but are you doing it to a guy, bro? Come on, he's a fag.
I mean, Gonzalo, it's like when people do it as a joke when they shake your hand and they wiggle the finger. Okay, that's one thing. That's a joke, and you only do that once. You don't do it. But this guy's rubbing the hands.
He's a fag.
This is insane, man.
That's
And by the
funny,
way,
bro.
look, I don't want to, again, take this with a grain of salt. You know, we got connections here everywhere in the boxing, BD boxing, boxing debate arena. This is a guy, apparently they found, because right afterwards, Amir Khan ran to the restroom, locked himself in one of the stalls. Now, again, this is all hearsay. Supposedly, this is from the guy recorded this with his iPhone or whatever it is that the kids use nowadays. He recorded this audio of Amir Khan right after this, locked himself in the bathroom, and this is what we heard. I mean, I don't know. You guys read between the lines. I don't know what to make of that. But yeah, man.
Hey, I was hey BDA. Didn't Amir Khan kind of get exposed for like whacking off with a tranny online or something, or like he hit one up?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, man.
That's true.
Well, his wife.
He tried to go take it on a date, and he sent his wife. She said, "Aren't you married?" And he's like, well, "Fuck you, dude," or something like that. And he sent his dick pic.
Man, that's weird. Yeah, that dude. And then Joshua banged his wife too.
Yeah, he's probably in the room when it happened.
I mean, I don't know, man. It was just weird, man. It's like, hey, don't forget to hit the likes, fellas. Get us to 100. Get us to 100 right off the bat. And you know what? I'm gonna play this. Yeah. I'm gonna keep playing this until we get to 100 likes, man.
Hey, BDA. That makes me curious about the relationship between Kell Brook and Amir Khan now, and why they were such bitter enemies. Almost like they were love torn. Like their exes, like they might have known each other in a different way once upon a time.
You know what, man? Normally I would have said, "Nah, you're crazy," but in light of this, I mean, it's highly possible. Because, I mean, again, I'm going to keep playing this until we get to 100 likes, man. Sorry about that, but that's the only way we can entice you guys to hit the like.
Man, Mike, how many people you knock out with this? Oh, no. With these hands?
That's not disrespect.
200 in the street.
Check that out, guys. Oh, look at the open man, bro. Yes, bro.
He sounds like a photographer. It's like, yeah, okay, let me see those tits. Okay, yeah. Okay, now just, spread up. Sabrina, get down on your knees so she can see your asshole. It's like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
It's crazy how Mike Tyson is still very famous.
This man has a great ass. I'm not gay. Just because I love his ass doesn't make me gay.
It's Amir Khan right there. What were you going to say, Gonzalo? Gonzalo, were you going to say something?
No, I was just saying Mike Tyson, like, for a while, like, he went kind of like unnoticed, but then he came back and he's real famous now again. Kind of like almost like back in his prime. Maybe people think, one day he's going to leave, but I mean, because there was a whole bunch of stars there. It wasn't just him, a lot of boxing royalty, but, he still gets a lot of shine.
Yeah,
but definitely Amir Khan in the wrong.
Yeah, they paid all those guys to be there, and that's why I wanted to ask you guys about that, because look, there's good and bad to having these events in the Middle East, in Arabia, because on the one hand, most boxing fans aren't going to travel all the way over there to watch a fight. Especially, I think there's no drinking allowed, unless they start doing what they did during the World Cup in Qatar, where they set up zones where you can drink. But even then, it's kind of it's an obstacle to overcome. But on the other hand, there was a lot of pageantry. Like Gonzalo said, they brought in all the stars. Then they had that thing where the undercard took place outside, and then they moved the main event inside once it came along. And I'm thinking, that type of pageantry, that type of high-tech thing, that's what boxing has been lacking for a long time. It's been staggering. It's been lagging. It's same old thing, same old introductions, guys that are trying to copy Michael Buffer. What do you guys think about that? Do you think there's some good coming out of Arabia? The fact that they're going to be putting up the money to make these fights happen, and that they're actually, doing a little showmanship in there?
I would say this about the card, bro. It was actually pretty cool that it was an all heavyweight card, because there was a bunch of stoppages. Even the main event was good, because Ngannou made it good. if anybody caught that Fabio Wardley fight against what's his name, David Adelaide, that one was really good. The dude, Fabio Wardley, looked like a real contender in that fight. He's like 6'5" and he could box real good. This guy Adelaide was coming in with all kinds of bravado, and he was looking big and muscular and looking mean. He looked the part, you know. Then he came in with some pink trunks, and then we started asking some questions. And then Fabio Wardley really exposed him, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he knocked his ass out. And I would like to see him fight someone like Jared Anderson. Like would be, you know, he just won, I think, all the domestic belts in the UK. So he'll be up for, I think, probably mandatory for one of these bigger belts eventually. But, you know, like he's something good came out of the undercard, you know. Like I think this guy really shown up and he's shown out, you know.
That guy with the pink trunks, wasn't he rubbing Tyson's hands before the fight?
I think that might have been him. I don't know if he was on the other side of Mike Tyson. He might have been grabbing his hands with the gun at the same time.
I mean, I'm telling you, next we're going to see Kell Brook, you know, tugging on Mike Tyson's dick. Like, how many women did you fuck with this dick? You know, over 100. He's a little giggle there.
This is a chocolate brownie, isn't it?
Ah, come on. Jeez, Louise. What's going on, man? It's a Sunday show, man. It's supposed to be classy. Hey, fellas, we got 92 likes, so we're 8 away from 100. Get us to 100. Otherwise, we're shutting this thing down right off the bat, man. Right off the bat. What else did we miss from last night, fellas? Well, Never Sobers, I know you had a watch party. Do you think this event is going to be a success in terms of pay-per-view buys, or?
I'm not sure, bro. I hope so. I think Tyson Fury is a lot more popular than, even though the boxing world has kind of like soured on him, a lot of the hardcore fans, I do think he's a pretty big, like he's one of the faces of boxing. He has a Netflix show that they're begging for him to come back and do another one. You know, supposedly it was really successful. And a lot of people were putting money on this guy Ngannou. He came in, you know, the odds started tipping a little bit, not out of the favoritism for Fury, but you could tell that the odds were, there was money coming in late for Ngannou. So, you know, maybe he had some more believers than everybody thought.
That's what I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think, because again, somebody else mentioned that in one of the phone calls that there was a 40-minute wait between the last fight on the undercard and then the main event. Do you think they were doing that to try to get as many people to buy the pay-per-view as possible? Any last buyers?
I just think they're trying to just throw as much money out there as they could with all the concert and all that. I think Triller did the same thing. You know, they kind of just try to pull a Triller, and I guess they try to do it better. Did you watch the concert, B-Day? Did you like the performances?
I went out for a walk. I wasn't going to wait around for 40 minutes, man.
At the end of the day, these dudes probably don't care about the money. It's more of a advertisement, a promotion for their country, so people can visit there. But at the end of the day, they're flooded in oil, so they got all kinds of money. Them kings got like, I don't know how many, like gold cars, like not gold plated. I think like solid gold. Well, maybe gold plated. Solid gold's too much. But yeah, they're fucking rich as fuck.
Now,
hey, BDA, a lot of people think now. Yeah, a lot of people think now that, look, in my opinion, Tyson Fury, like you were mentioning earlier, he got exposed, to tell you the truth, because it makes more sense now. It's not just like simple triangle theory, okay? Because like if you think about like what you mentioned about Vladimir Klitschko, yes, he only probably beat him by 10 punches. That was like an old Klitschko where he was fainting a lot. With Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder's not that good. Dillian White, kind of same thing, you know, just only like a big lift. So it kind of makes sense now. And they say, well, Usyk don't have the power that Ngannou got. But I'll say one thing, Usyk got a chin. So having the chin will allow him to fucking take more risk and kind of close the distance and get up on that dude's chest and fucking catch and shoot and start pouncing on the bigger man. So I still probably favor Usyk by now over Fury, now that it's making more sense that he's probably a little exposed, in my opinion. Overrated.
I think that's fair to say. Absolutely. Now, the Dillian White, I gave him credit for the win, but there was a lot of clinching in that win as well. And on top of that, Dillian White had been through the ringer. Wars with Oscar Rivas, Joseph Parker, Chisora, the first one, getting his ass knocked out by Povetkin. And I give him credit. He outclassed Povetkin in the rematch. But I mean, this is a guy that he wasn't the same Dylan White from the middle 2010s, from the mid 2010s. But yeah, man. I mean, look, Usyk again. Some people saying, yeah, but Ngannou's stronger than Usyk. But like you said, Usyk has a good chin, possibly the best conditioning in boxing, world class skills. Again, Fury 1-2, 1-2 clinch, 1-2 clinch. That's what he does. And it was enough to beat Ngannou, who's a novice. And even then, he had trouble working that style in there. It's highly likely that he will fail him against Alexander Usyk. People focus too much on Ngannou's strength. But I'll say this, man. In terms of that fight happening, now I think it was Shazar in the Discord. Shout out to Shazar. He said his prediction is Fury Usyk ain't never going to happen. Fury's probably going to find a way to wiggle his way out. Because, I mean, that's the way he's been acting the last year. Stalling, not wanting to make the fight. Then he goes in against Ngannou, struggles, and elbows the guy, trying to get an advantage. That's the type of guy he is. If people think, oh, no, he wouldn't do that to the fans, I got news for you. He doesn't give a shit about the fans. Tyson Fury only cares about one person, himself. And his father shows this, it shows that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because when, what's his name again? John Fury, or the father, he was doing up to his old tricks as well when Jake Paul was going to fight Tommy Fury. They had, Jake Paul said, hold on, I'm cutting off here. Okay, we're back. Refresh the stream, guys, refresh the stream. When Jake Paul fought, what's his name? Tommy Fury. And Jake Paul said, hey, listen, let's make a bet. They didn't want to do anything official. And then, when Tommy Fury won, John Fury's like, well, hey, you got to honor your bet. Well, you didn't want to do the bet. Now all of a sudden you want to twist it around. That's what the Furies are up to, man. Maybe not the whole family, but a lot of them, that's how they act, man. It's a lot of tricks, a lot of shadow play.
Yeah, bro, I think that's pretty funny how Tyson Fury tried to throw that elbow to Ngannou, and he just ate that shit. He was trying to fight like on some MMA shit in there. He was trying to grapple with him. He tried to elbow him. And none of that shit. And Ngannou wasn't going for any of that, you know? He grabbed him. He's like, get your ass off me. That shit was funny, bro.
But, I mean, that whole thing...
was entertaining, bro. I thought the card was entertaining.
Yeah, I think he only needed a win since he got the knockdown. He only needed really to win 4 rounds, because it wasn't, like you guys know, but just to paint a picture, it wasn't a 12th round fight. One knockdown will put you behind. In a 10th round fight, it makes it a lot tighter for you to get out of that little hole, right? And like I said, 7th round, dude, the guy was facing his back, and he fell onto the cords when he got clipped by a right hand, so that should have been counted as a knockdown too, but obviously the ref being on the back of Tyson Fury couldn't see that. But the cameras did, right? But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, the fact that he tried to elbow him, Gonzalo, could have really damaged Ngannou's career long term. But with that scar tissue, if he would have, created a gash, that is one. I mean, I lost a lot of respect for Fury, man, for trying to do that. I mean, on top of all the respect that I was already losing this past year, and then he does that. I mean, it was a complete and total loss for him. The only thing is, yeah, he won the fight, he got the decision, and the Ngannou fans, the Afro-Anglos, can cry about it all they want. But the fact is he looked awful, and the fact that he tried to do that elbow there, I mean, this guy, disgusting, absolutely disgusting.
Ngannou's got potential, BD. I mean, yeah, he's an MMA fighter, but I was surprised because he's like very muscular, and he was able to keep his composure and not waste a lot of unnecessary energy and catch and shoot, counter back. He had his hands up. He looked fundamentally sound, especially considering he's facing a boxer that's taller and longer than he is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I hear now that all the sanctioning bodies are going to rank him in the top 10. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that what happens with him, because he's 37. He's 37. Now, I know in the heavyweight division, I mean, look at fucking Zhilei Zhang. He's 40. And some people are saying that he could take the crown. So the heavyweight division is like another dimension. The laws of physics just don't seem to... I mean, the laws of physics... Yeah, it's kind of like the laws of physics. The laws of boxing just don't seem to apply in this division. And It's bizarre. By the way, fellas, refresh your stream. If you were lagging, refresh your stream, and don't forget to hit the like, hit the like. But yeah, man. Gonzalo. Here's the thing, though. You're a boxing purist through and through because you just want to watch the fights. You don't care about the YouTube boxing community drama. You don't care about this, that. You just want to see the fights. But what do you think? Do you think this type of fights? Do you mind this type of fights, or are you like, hey, it's a little bit of entertainment? You go along with it. I'm talking about the circus crossover fights between MMA guys and boxers.
I usually would probably not care, but then I was surprised. I mean, I was still gonna watch them anyways, but then when something like this happens, which is probably very rare, it's a pretty rare situation where the MMA guy holds his own and such a big event because this turned out to be probably the biggest event as far as like the pleasantries and all the things that they spent for the show and all the people that they invited, all the boxing celebrities, the legends. Yeah, it was like a big deal. I didn't know it was going to be that much of a big deal. So all eyes are on boxing, mixed martial arts, and what Ngannou did was pretty impressive. So I was kind of like how they say, pleasantly surprised. Yeah, so I'm just gonna watch all this stuff anyhow. But usually the shit like this wouldn't happen.
Well, let me ask you, Never Sobers.
As far as the result.
Yeah, well, piggybacking off that last thing you said, Never Sobers, were you surprised at how well Ngannou did last night? I don't know if you mentioned that earlier. All right, I think Never Sobers is hitting the pipe. Not the type of pipe Khan likes, I hope. Hopefully the weed pipe, if you know what I mean. But, I mean...
You asked me something about BDA?
Yeah, did you expect Ngannou to do as well as he did last night?
Not at all, bro. I thought Tyson Fury was going to have his way with him, and, I thought he was going to pull his punches. But when he got knocked down, you could see his eyes widen up. He had that fear in his eye, dude, and that look in his eye never left. Every time he got touched by Ngannou, his eyes widen up like, fuck. You know what I mean? So, I didn't expect that at all. But that's why I do like to watch these fights, because I like to watch MMA.
Yeah, he watches, Never Sobers watches everything. He watches MMA and the boxing. There's, we were watching.
For me to watch these fights, like the guys that came out with Ngannou, where the UFC had, they had like 3 African kings, because they had like 3 African dudes that were champions at the same time. Adesanya, Usman, and Ngannou. And Adesanya got buck broken, dude. He's about to stop fighting. Usman got buck broken. He's about to stop fighting. And Ngannou was the only one that still had it on his back. You know what I mean? Like he was still carrying that on his back. And he left the UFC, and everyone was shitting on him about his career, saying he's fucking up, trying to go boxing just to get embarrassed for a paycheck. And he made it happen, dude. Now he has a deal with the PFL, and they agreed to let him box with Tyson Fury. And he didn't embarrass himself. He actually embarrassed Tyson Fury. So there's going to be even more of like he took some of his star power with him now to this new organization. And I know Dana White's mad about it. I know fucking Bob Aaron's mad about it. Frank Warren, they're all butthurt about they're all butthurt about this shit.
But you know what?
That's cool that someone like shit like that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's interesting thing you mentioned those 3 champs in MMA, because that's one thing I've noticed. I noticed it a long time ago. Once MMA started stepping it up, and what I mean by that is when you had guys that started improving their striking, because at some point we're talking back in the early 2000s, late 90s, it was wrestlers. That's just fucking guys like Mark Coleman, just grounding, pounding guys, because they were so much stronger and better at the wrestling. But then they started mixing in the guards, and strikers were able to pull, resist the takedowns. So it just evolved. You got guys are more complete now. But one thing I started noticing back then was championships trade hands real quickly, man. I mean, one day you got Junior Dos Santos as the heavyweight champion. He's unbeatable. He's the great. All of a sudden he gets beat. Then Cain Velasquez beats him. Then 2 fights later, boom, he gets beat. So it seems like there's no real consistency. I mean, for every Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, and John Jones, you get these champs that they win the championship, and then 1 fight later, boom, they lose it. I mean, Usman, he was being hailed as an invincible guy, great wrestling. Now he's lost. How many fights has he lost out of his last 4 fights? For example, 3, I think.
Yeah, 3. He's been knocked out, and then he just lost his last 2 back to back.
Now, is this because these guys are fighting the best in the UFC? Is that the reason why these guys can't hold on to the championship? Or
Yeah, I do think that Dana White kind of he'll protect some guys to a certain degree, but he'll still throw you in there and he'll let you lose. You know, and the heavyweights, it's so hard for them to be consistent. A lot of them aren't even great wrestlers. You know, a lot of them are just kind of stand up, flat, sloppy boxers, kickboxers. The guy who won the most title defenses in the UFC was Stipe Miocic, and that was only three. And Ngannou, he lost him and then he knocked him out brutally in the rematch. And that was his last fight in the UFC. So he left like beating the best guy they had, the best heavyweight they had. They were trying to talk about fighting John Jones, but I guess Francis went on to do bigger and better things because right now John Jones he just backed out of his last fight. He ain't doing shit.
that's interesting, man. That's
So he
interesting.
left them in the
That's the
dust. It looks like.
Yeah, that's an interesting, different dynamic there in MMA. And I tell you what, though, I would like to have the same dynamic here in boxing because it is true. Too many people focus on the losses, and some people are gonna say, "But wait a minute, weren't you just criticizing Tyson Fury for his performance?" Blah blah. Blah. Yeah, but it's one thing to criticize a performance. It's another one to say, "Oh, this guy's done after one loss," or "This guy's completely finished." I think boxing would, if you start conditioning boxing fans to see it a different way, while making the best fights possible. And okay, yeah, if a guy fights the best and he fights 5 of the top contenders and he loses 2 out of those, I don't think it's that bad, especially depending on how he fights them or how he performs. That MMA approach, the UFC to be more specific, organization approach, is fucking golden, man. Because you see it growing and growing and growing in terms of fan base. I think it's stagnated a little bit too. I remember 10 years ago, people were, because he was on an upward trend, and people were saying, "Oh, it's going to overtake." Joe Rogan was saying it's going to be more. It's got the potential to be bigger than football. And I'm thinking, well, not really, man, because when it comes to combat sports, it takes a certain amount of knowledge to appreciate all the intricacies. And that's the thing. You're never going to get the average Joe to enjoy a jiu-jitsu ground match. All right, 2 guys vying for control on the ground. You know what I mean? It's like boxing too. It's like when it turns into a tactical chess match, the casual fans just aren't going to enjoy it that much. They want to see a war.
Oh, let me correct myself. It wasn't Stipe Miocic's final fight. It was Cyril Gane.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there you go with that, man. It's the UFC. But yeah, Dana White. I heard that he must be a little mad because apparently he was saying that the Ngannou Fury fight wasn't going to go anywhere. But there weren't that many people. I mean, Teddy Atlas was one of the people that was saying, yeah, Ngannou has a shot. But then again, he was probably being paid by the Arabs to promote this fight, so he was just towing the line, probably. But credit to him. He was one of the few that said that Ngannou was going to be problematic.
He was a free agent for a while, BDA, and there was people like Top Rank, like Barbarian, like, no, we don't need him. And someone like Eddie Hearn saying, no, we're not interested in that guy. And I bet Eddie Hearn's kicking himself in the ass about this, just like how he used to talk about, oh, I almost signed Tyson Fury. He could have signed Ngannou.
Interesting, man. Very interesting. I mean, yeah, man. Listen, I don't know. Sorry, man, because I don't know what's going on with the stream. People are saying that it's lagging, so we're probably gonna end it soon. But I wanted to bring this up to you, fellas. November, it's a little bit of a slim pickings as far as the month goes. Because next week we got Joe Cordina versus Edward Vasquez. Vasquez is good. He's solid, but on paper, it's not exactly the most enticing fight out there. Then the next a week later, during the week from Tokyo, Japan, you got Takuma Inoue taking on Herwin Ancajas, the Filipino former champ. That's going to be a decent fight right there, but I don't know how many people are going to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch that one. The best card of the month, Shakur Stevenson taking on the hard-hitting Edwin de los Santos. That's an intriguing matchup right there for the vacant, apparently, WBC lightweight belt. I don't know how they're fighting already for the vacant belt, but that's the way it goes. And then you got Navarrete, El Vaquero, taking on Robson Conceição, a dangerous fight for Navarrete right there. That's the best card of the month for sure. Then the next week, or a couple of days later, rather, you got Diego Pacheco versus Marcelo Coceres. Coceres, been there, done that. He's been beaten by other prospects, but still a very intriguing fight. Step up for Diego Pacheco right there. Women fighting. Then November 25th, we got the pay-per-view between Benavidez and Andrade. So that's what we get in November. Guys, just correct me if I'm wrong, or remind me, how do you guys see the Andrade Benavidez fight going?
I think Benavidez is gonna whoop that ass, bro. As long as David's who I think he is, And Andrade is who I think he is. David's gonna beat his ass. He might stop him, but Andrade might be running like for his life, like Plant was.
After
What's his name?
yeah,
Yeah, Andrade. He's looking big, right? He's looking physically strong, but at the end of the day, freaking David Benavidez is also a monster. He's big as fuck. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be who's got the better boxing skills. Which I mean, Andrade does have, but I think it's also gonna have to like who's got the more heart and who's more aggressive, right? Who's gonna give it their all? It's gonna have a lot to do with that. Who wants it more? And I think right now David Benavidez, he's younger, so also that plays a part. And yeah, I'm favoring David Benavidez. I think he stops him in around 8 or 9 rounds.
well, now let me ask you this. Because we just saw, we could have seen a major upset last night. Just the fact that Ngannou was competitive was an upset. Demetrius Andrade has a lot of tools. I've said it before that I'm giving him a good chance of pulling this one off, and I would even pick him to win if his stamina could hold up. But how about it, guys? In the spirit of upsets, which we almost saw last night, you guys giving Andrade a little bit more of a chance now after what happened last night, or it's a completely different thing here?
No, bro. I think Andrade is the big difference between Andrade and Ngannou was when I was listening to the pre-fight shows and everything, how they were doing the weigh-ins and all that, and the face-offs. Ngannou was seriously shocked that no one believed that he could win. You know what I mean? And if you see the energy that and Andrade's been giving off, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just happy to be here energy. He don't got it in his head that he thinks he can win. Ngannou was confident that he could win.
That's an interesting point, man. That's an interesting way of putting it. That he's like happy to be here again. Could be deception though. Could be deception, man. Gonzalo, what do you think about what Never Sober said?
Yeah, no, I would give him more of a chance if he was facing a shorter guy, but he's facing a taller guy where he's not gonna have the breathing room. Like obviously, he's gonna be well conditioned, so he's gonna like do his best to create some separation. Get on the back foot. Then which Benavidez is hardly not going to do any of this. He's not going to get on the back foot himself. He's just going to keep pressing, pedal to the metal, continuing to close the space. As you take a step back, he's going to keep closing the distance and staying on top of you. So he's gonna give a fight. Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade is going to put up a fight, but at the first sign where he starts showing us what he's done in the past, where it's like the tale of two, Demetri Andrades. When the gas tank starts to like wane, and he starts getting a little disheveled and starts getting a little white with his punches and his legs, David Benavidez is still going to continue to take the 1 and the 2 steps forward, bounding forward and doubling up on his movements and staying on your chest. And then throwing punches at the same time, bevy of punches, back and forth. So he's gonna eat him up and spit him out. He's gonna eat him up alive. Like when he starts getting tired, that's when David Benavidez is just gonna keep pressing. That's the thing. He will put up a good fight if David Benavidez can take Demetrius Andrade's onslaught as well. Man, he's gonna win, in my opinion. I'm not saying that he's not going to put up a fight. He will.
This is the bottom line. In his prime, Demetrius Andrade would beat your favorite fighter's ass. He would beat your favorite fighter's ass. From pillar to pillar, he would beat your favorite fighter's ass. But he's not in his prime anymore, so he's getting knocked the fuck out.
I mean, yeah, that Malignaggi is usually right on the money, man. But that I think he got carried away with the moment. But I mean, look, I'll say it. I'm gonna buy the fight. It shouldn't be on pay-per-view, but I'm gonna buy it, and I'll complain about it. By the way, because if I'm paying 100 clams for it, then I got the right to complain about it. But I'll say this: Andrade, 35 years old. He's got a chance, man. He's got a chance to win this one. I will not be surprised if he outboxes Benavidez. Gonzalo was talking about the fact that the stamina thing and how about Benavidez is just gonna keep walking him down. But Benavidez has to fix his footwork too. He's pretty quick on the counterpunch trigger. People don't give him enough credit for how quickly he can counterpunch, catch and shoot, as Malignaggi would say. But I'll say this too: Benavidez he's racing against time here because the more time passes, the harder it is for him to make 168 pounds. This guy's a cruiserweight in there. So again, he looked emaciated on fight week against Caleb Plant. Can't imagine how he's going to look in this one. Even if he's got the great Memo Heredia, who's giving him the best supplements, if you know what I mean. So we're going to see what happens, man. We're going to see what happens. I'm intrigued by the fight. Andrade has quick combinations. He can shuffle. He can change levels. So he's going to make Benavidez punch down. But again, we're going to talk more about this fight as it gets closer, as it nears. We're going to start showing some video as well to show you guys what we're talking about. Just essentially show a proper delineation and demarcation of the facts. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Fellas, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on? Anything we might have overlooked? Anything you want to reemphasize?
That dude, Hernandez, bro. He had the fight won, dude. He just didn't want to hold. I don't know what was up with him. That 11th round was really good, bro. I really liked that 11th round. And shit, I would like to see Usyk Foster versus Navarrete. But I don't, like you were saying earlier, I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe now with the fall of the Showtime boxing, maybe they'll start working together, and it will force Top Rank and the Zone to look at that, say, oh shit, we actually need to make the best fights happen, and they actually maybe they do a crossover, but we can only hope. We can only hope.
Giovanni Santillan, BA, that was a good fight last week. That was a good fight. We were on the Discord, and I said, "Oh, he could be a superstar," and you laughed, ha ha ha, like you scoffed. But then you gave me the answer, BDA. You said, "Who is that guy? I ain't never seen him fight before." Kind of like when I walk into a room and one time, what's that?
I don't remember laughing. I don't even remember you saying that because I don't think we even talked about that fight.
No, I remember.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Okay. I thought you were being serious. You got me, man, motherfucker. I'm too gullible, man.
Hey, but that was a good performance. There can only be one Gallo de Oro. You know what I mean? El papá de los pollitos. The daddy of the little chicks.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes him special. El Gallo de Oro, the golden rooster. Right.
So,
you know what?
So that being said, bro, the guys at 147 are going to be
90 seconds.
It's going to be Boots Ennis, Castellan, and whoever wins between Thurman and Stanionis. Because I heard that guy Crowley just left. He just retired, and Virgil, Crawford, and Spence are gone. So there's the top three is. The top 7 of top 6 of 147, there's only like 3 of them left that are going to be active in the division.
Yeah, that's a great point. That the welterweight division is reconfiguring itself right now. It's going through a transitionary period because, like you said, Crawford just doesn't seem to be interested in fighting anybody other than Canelo. Errol Spence probably moving up to 154. Jerron Ennis is probably going to be moving up to 154 as well, too, or middleweight even. Maybe he'll bypass 154. Yeah. This guy's huge. Ortiz himself is, again, another guy that was boiling himself down to 147. Stanionis, we'll see what happens with him if he has to get past Thurman. Cody Crowley, by the way, Cody Crowley, he seemed to indicate that he was retiring because his career was being stalled, which, by the way, you're signed with the PBC. What do you think is going to happen? Stalling, that's all they do. But he'll probably come back. I'm expecting him to return. So you got Santillan, Cody Crowley, Avanesian, Mario Barrios, who thinks his career is rejuvenated after beating an old-ass Ugas. But, yeah, I mean, decent win. Alexis Rocha has to go back to the drawing board after he got beaten at his own game against Santillan. I wanted to say about Santillan, too, by the way. This dude is strong. I heard Steve Kim and Mario Lopez on the 3 knockdown rule. They were talking about how Santillan wasn't looking all that great before. I think he's a guy from San Diego. And then he went over to Oxnard, and they were emphasizing the fact that in Oxnard you will get world-class sparring almost every day. There's somebody in your weight class that you can spar over there, and that's what they always say. Good sparring will keep you sharp, and then once you actually fight and stay active in the ring, you will become even sharper. And this guy, he looked like the monster against Rocha.
I've seen Santillan fight before, like once or twice, bro, and he's usually like a passive boxer. I thought him and Rocha were gonna be boxing in the middle of the ring, kind of like at a slow pace. Mm-hmm. But the way he came out like he knew this was his chance and he needed to take it. and he beat the fuck out of Rocha, bro, from the first round to right till it ended, bro.
But
So
you
he
picked
did look
Santillan to
different
win.
than he has in other performances.
You picked Santillan to win. I remember you told us. You picked Santillan to win. So you expected him to outbox Rocha, or did you expect the destruction that we saw?
I expected him to outbox him, and I thought, like, when they do start exchanging, because that's what was going to happen with these guys. Rocha's not that good of a boxer where he was going to be able to get away. I thought Santillan would be stronger.
Interesting, man. Yeah, that's one guy I missed watching.
I didn't think he'd beat the shit out of him like that, though.
But I mean, I'd never seen the guy fight either, so I was pleasantly shocked, I will say.
Yeah, me neither. But I did see some highlights, and I noticed that he had quick hands. But come to find out, and most importantly for himself, now that he knows he can get guys out of there when he goes for it. So not only will he bank on his speed, but his punching power. And if he's physically strong and getting the sparring in, and doesn't jack off like for 3 months, like the way he showed up. Hey man,
I was joking about that, by the way. Yeah, I was joking. We were watching it. We were watching the fight with on Never Sober's that Santillan Rocha fight on Never Sober's stream, Discord rather. And I made a joke. I said Santillan's fighting like a guy who hasn't jerked off in over 2 months. And so now Gonzalo's piggybacking off of that. But hey, man, yeah, man. Semen retention. Semen retention. It works wonders, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he had that look of frustration before, like he's looking for this. No, like Edwin Valero.
Hey, maybe Amir Khan is gonna be rubbing up on Santillan, saying, "Man, you're strong, man. Let me fill up your muscles, man. How many people do you knock out with those muscles?" I mean, I'm not even gonna play the video again because I already played it 4 times. But I'm perplexed at why Amir Khan would film that. He was filming it, by the way, rubbing Mike Tyson's hands, moaning what he was doing. Disturbing, absolutely disturbing. By the way,
think he's got CT, BDA, because he's been knocked out pretty like scary, like a few times already.
I don't know if he has CTE, but it's the way he's acting. It looks like he's gonna get AIDS, if you know what I mean. AIDS. You guys read between the lines for that one. Listen, I wanted to say something else. Cody Crowley supposedly retired, you guys mentioned. I forgot to mention, too, we haven't talked about this, and it's been about 3 weeks. Emmanuel Rodriguez, the bantamweight, number 1 bantamweight in the world, after Inoue vacated, he's retiring as well. Surprise retirement. After he just dominated a top foe a couple of weeks ago on Showtime. That was weird, man. He just said, I'm calling it quits. Maybe he realized there's not that much going on at bantamweight after Inoue left, or because I mean he already beat Butler, he already beat Maloney. I don't know, man. It was weird, man. It was weird that he's retired. Maybe another guy that's going to be coming back after a couple of months. Maybe he'll change his mind. Well, that's about it. Well, actually, hold on a second. We got a phone call here. Last phone call of the day. I didn't know there was somebody waiting there. Excuse me, because the phone lines are closed. 713, you're on the air. 713. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just thought Fury didn't know what to do. I think he took Ngannou lightly, and apparently Ngannou is the best UFC MMA fighter that turned boxer. Apparently, from his performance, he might do better, but then again, he's 36, 37. There's not much room for improvement. He doesn't have time on the side. And then Hernandez versus Foster, I'm surprised it ended the way it ended. And hopefully Foster fights Navarrete next for unification. We'll probably won't see it until maybe a year, maybe. Anyway, that was my thoughts. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you for the call, and call back next time, man. Take it easy out there. Yeah, it was a nice short call right there, man. This guy delineated his points perfectly. No prevarication. Shout out to him, man. All right, listen, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Never Sobers. Gonzalo, thank you for jumping in. Everybody that called in. You guys made this show fantastic. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat. Before you go, hit the like. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out with the algorithm. Allows us to bring in more people, which means more revenue, which means more shows, because we can upkeep with that. So shout out to you fellas. Thank you for joining us. Who else? Yeah, let me just read this. Shout out to everybody that donated. Keep this show going. Shout out to the Quags, Fighter Flight Boxing, Earl Stevens, and Never Sobers. He reestablished his membership program as well. So shout out to you guys. Like I said, everybody that donated with Super Chat, everybody that called in, everybody in the chat room. I'm talking about Fluffy Toasters 89. Was that what happened? What?
Gotta buy my way onto your panel, bro.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, every little bit helps, man. That's all I'm saying. But that's, I mean, no, thank you for dropping by. I'm gonna try to do, excuse me, I'm gonna try to do a couple of second renaissances because I said that I was gonna be doing a second renaissance almost every day for the Halloween season, and then a lot of stuff came up, and I looked like a jackass, more than usual, by the way. So I'm gonna have to try to make up for it in between now and Halloween. Might even do one today. No promises. You guys know at this point in October I can't keep them, but we'll try to do that. I promise. So shout out to you fellas. Shout out to you, Never Sobers, Gonzalo, The Quags, Skull Kid 25, Eparokua, Quentin Lassiter, I Am Your Leader. Shout out to I Am Your Leader in there. Handsome Mechanic, Reese Mac 11, Fluffy Toaster 79, Ahey Juice. Oh, come on, wait. AHEJOUS. Hopefully it didn't sound like something else, man. I don't want to get in trouble. Shout out to Reese Mac, Rafael Garza in the house. Shout out to Rafael Garza. Says, what about the PBC? Hopefully they will be forced to go to the zone. Yeah, hopefully, man. Shout out to Skull Kid 25, Mark T, RC3, NYC. Open the gates. And many more people, guys. If I forget anybody, it's because we got to go. Shout out to you, fellas. Thanks for joining us. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy, fellas. Thanks for watching.